Oh, no, she's not.
How are you doing? How are you doing? I'd like to see the window down there. Gotta be shorter still.
You're okay. Where we going to TV? We're not lying. Is my hair okay? Since I can't get blow. Don't go live. Don't go live just yet. Because y'all look like blowing. Sorry, I tried to finish that stuff. Glad it wasn't bad. I was thinking that piece. Went to a neighborhood, trying to get a stop sign, and that was not a good thing.
Okay, it's 5:30, so we'll go ahead and get started. We're ready to back. Okay. Call meeting to order. That's agenda item number 1. Agenda item number 2 is verification of compliance with open meeting law. This is to certify that the provisions of section 551.001 of the Texas Government Code have been met in connection with the public notice of this meeting. And then agenda item number 3, we don't have any public comments. Okay, thank you. And then we'll move to open remarks by Dr. Howard and myself. Dr. Howard.
Yes, so President Bishop, members of the board, audience, just a couple of things. It's only been a few days since we last met, but some great things have happened in that short amount of time. First of all, was invited to a Diamondback Employee Appreciation Lunch today, in which our students were kind of the program. So our Midland High Jazz Band was performing for them. Our Midland High one-act play was welcoming them. Our students in philanthropy from Legacy High School talked a little bit about how volunteer work with students in philanthropy has made such a difference for them. Our rolling baristas, 2 of the girls that participate in rolling baristas were able to share about that experience. So this was an opportunity for the volunteers from Diamondback, who've given over 2,000 hours to our schools, to see firsthand and hear firsthand from our students the difference and the impact that actual work has made, either those volunteer hours or the contributions they've made financially. Also the Siglass, the gentleman that spoke from Legacy High School about students in philanthropy is also in anatomy and physiology, and talked about how that impact has made a difference for him firsthand. Also, a celebration, Go for Lunch. We had Midland High School students that their experiments have been sent to the International Space Station. And last week, state robotics, we sent 2 teams to the state robotics competition. We're the only 6A, or the only district in Texas that sent both of our large high schools to the state competition. So that's something we're very proud of, and they did well there. And just hot off the press, in fact, that's where media is coming from too. We had a press conference over at UTPB just a little bit ago to announce a new direct admissions program between UTPB, Midland College, and ECISD, and not Midland College. We do have direct admissions with Midland College, but this is through UTPB and Midland ISD. And what this does, it allows over 500 of our seniors direct admission because of their qualifications. And so they'll be receiving postcards in the mail that they've been accepted to UTPB. It also is going to open the door for some scholarships and merit scholarships, as well as the Falcon Free program. So just another way of making that process of going to college a little bit easier for them. So just wanted to share that.
Next, we'll have, agenda item number 5, overview of board goals, through 2028. Dr. Howard.
Yes. So I want to thank our Board of Trustees for their work over the last almost 6 months now as we've revisited the board goals. And so we may wonder, why did we have or revisit the board goals? A couple of reasons. One, ours were set to expire in 2026. Two, the assessment changed, the state assessment. And three, the accountability system has changed. So with this being a community forum, I'll go through and explain that process and then present the goals. So why goals? Goals are so that we all are on the same page. We have a clear plan moving forward. The board has goals around early literacy, early math, as well as CCMR. And that helps the board and administration all be on the same page with where we're trying to get, what we're trying to accomplish. And it allows us a way to measure that progress year after year. Where am I clicking?
On your Brian.
Someone just click. Okay. There we go. So, okay.
Okay, the first goal is to learn how to make the clicker work properly. But here are the 5 goals, and I'm going to move into each of those individually so that we can dive into them. So goal 1 is about 3rd graders, and specifically 3rd graders meeting grade level performance on the reading language arts state assessment or STAR assessment. The baseline in 2023 was 41. The goal is 55 by 2028. That goal of 55 is 5 points ahead of where the state average is right now. And so when we look at how have we done historically in this area, you can see that baseline of 41 and the goal of 55. So that 55 will be the highest mark that we've seen in 10 years. And that is the goal that we have, the board has set, and the goal that our team is working to accomplish. Goal 2 is the same thing, except it's math. And in math, the baseline was 38% and the goal is 50%. Again, that 50% is above state average. It's 5 points ahead of where state average sits in 2023. And again, when we look at this data, you can see that that goal of 50 is a stretch goal and a goal that we're working to achieve that will be at the highest number that we've achieved in 10 years. And then goal number 3, this goal has been rewritten just a little bit. The first 2 were very similar to how the board had been operating over the last several years. This one actually includes 4th grade through English 2. Before, it was 4th grade through 8th grade. And so now English 1 and English 2 have a growth measure that's calculated by the state. So this goal is about meeting or exceeding the Reading Language Arts STAR annual growth goal. And that would go from 55 to 71. What is new is that now there is an English 1 and an English 2 growth measure. Also, students who transition from a Spanish assessment to an English assessment will have a growth calculation that they have not had in the past. This is the growth data that you see in front of you. You see there in 2022, that was a year of an anomaly across the state, quite frankly, because those 2 years before that, coming out of COVID, there was significant growth when that happened, and we saw that. And now when we go back and set that new goal of 71, working to come up from that 55 to 71. Growth is an area that's really changed in the new accountability system. And so let me show you this example. Some of this is pretty small up here, but if we just look here at the bottom, if we look at that 4th grader, John Doe, in 21-22, John had a scale score of 1045. That was a DNM, means did not meet low. In 22-23, on the reading language arts test, he scored a 1245. That still is did not meet SLO, and that student gain was 200 points. So on the old accountability system, in 2022 and before, that would have calculated as a one point in the accountability system. That would have counted for a growth measure. In 2023, the campus district would receive 0 points because John didn't go from did not meet low to did not meet high. And so the same 2,200 points were calculated, but there's significant changes in what counts for growth. So then number 4, goal 4 is math. So 4th grade through Algebra 1, baseline of 61 going to 71. And here's some historical data for you. So again, you may ask, why would we be at 70 back in 2018? Back in 2018 and even back in 2022, the way growth was calculated was different than the way it is now calculated in the state of Texas with the A through F accountability refresh. Again, that 71 also is what it takes at a minimum to be a B. And so setting a goal that would not drop us down below at least a B metric. And then goal 5 is another one that you decided to change a little bit. This one was a graduation goal. It's now a CCMR goal. The state actually asked that you look at an early literacy, early math, and CCMR goal. This is the one where we do have lagging data. So this 54 baseline would have been in the 2023 accountability system. However, it's the class of 2022. So the baseline of 54% that you see here and the goal of 83% by 2028, that will be the class of 2027 that we're working to get to that 83% mark. And then you can see here where we've been historically. Last year, the class of 2023 and the 2024 accountability system, unofficially, it's closer to 72%. However, that's not on here because that hasn't been released. Also there in that chart to the right, you can see with the new accountability system, what used to be the raw score conversion and cut points for high school to be an 8, 60, and in the new accountability system, it takes an 88 to be an 8. And so a significant difference there. But again, that goal of 83 will be for 2028. Really, it's the class of 2027, but 2028 accountability system. So what's next? Our board goals and all of the actions that we do around reaching those goals are within our district improvement plan, within our strategic plan. And so when we think about these goals, which are around student outcomes, these are going to, for the most part, be within that student experience. So when we think about a structured literacy approach, phonics-based instruction, consistent curriculum, ELAR K-8, as well as new ELAR math curriculum that's coming that you approved at last week's meeting, those are going to be very instrumental in reaching these goals. The pre-K expansion, the sooner we work with our students, the better their outcomes tend to be, and we saw that in our recent kindergarten readiness data. And then when we think about the grow and develop staff piece of the strategic plan, our people, our teachers are critical. And the work that we're doing in grow and develop staff for recruiting and growing our own staff, supporting and training our staff and equipping them and making sure they have what they need to help our students be successful is important. And then of course the progress monitoring, the goal progress measures, the monthly reports that you'll receive at the board meetings are what we call leading indicators. So how are we doing on an ongoing basis so that when we get to the end of the year, we're not surprised by if we met that goal or not. So your board goals are lagging indicators, they are year-end indicators, and of course in this case they're actually 5-year goals, but monitoring that progress monthly to make sure that we're making progress towards those. Okay, and I'll be glad to answer any questions. Otherwise, that concludes the presentation and the public meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Howard. One is, we have the goals before us, and I think from the whole heart, I believe the board understands, the goals that are not only put before, you and your staff, but also for us as a board. All of us, accomplishing those, together, as a team, as a district. And, I know there's been input, before this community meeting, from our board meeting on things that we wanted to see. If there were some differences, like you showed, the other two goals, that we wanted to change or tweak, if you will. And so I think going forward, we'll continue to strive to make that. I know, sometimes we feel like it's a long stretch, but I know the, that you, put together, team, I believe we can accomplish those goals and be successful going forward. And I tell people in the community, the things we have didn't happen overnight, so we can't expect everything to change overnight. It's gonna be a process, along the way. We've seen progression steps, that the district made, from us being, even at the state level or above, on what we're looking at for our grading and successes of all of our students and our staff. So I appreciate the work that y'all put in, and then allowing the board and the community an opportunity to give feedback of what they've heard tonight. A lot of people say, well, we don't know what the district's doing, but when the opportunity arises for people to come out and input and see what we're doing, then we see what we see tonight. But again, I'm thankful and appreciative of the work that y'all put together.
Mr. Board President, I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
So, do we know if the commissioner has agreed that he's gonna keep that like he did before? No changes for the next 4 years or so?
Right. Yeah, I mean, the intent is for it to stay the same for about 5 years. Whether or not that happens, we don't have much control over that, but that's what we've been told.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I have, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Everybody's good? Well, it's 5:45. We need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Booker made the motion, we adjourn. Mr. Marcus second. All those in favor by raising your right hand. Adjourn.